Well, we've made it to day 6 of our journey to elevate your relationship. Today's tool is should know more. We learn things throughout our lives that we kind of pick up and do because we should do them. We learn these things from our parents, our grandparents. If you were raised in a religious background, you learn many of these things from your church. Some of them serve us, some don't. In fact, many of them don't. A great story along these lines is a story of a family who prepared this beautiful ham for Thanksgiving dinner. And this one year they were in there and they were working on this, and the first step of the recipe said to chop off the ends of the ham. And this little girl who was in there for the first time, she was trying to learn how to be a part of the festivities and the preparations. She looked at her mom, she said, "Well, why don't we chop the ends off the ham?" And the mom kind of shrugged her shoulders and looked over at her sister. She didn't have an answer. They looked at their mother. They didn't have an answer. So they went into the other room where the little girl's great-grandmother was sitting, and they asked her, "Grandmother, why do we chop the ends off of the ham?" And she smiled real big and she said, "Because many, many years ago when I first started doing this, the only pan that I had was too small to hold the whole ham." All of these generations, they had carried that tradition on. They had carried that should on because the grandmother didn't have a pan big enough to hold the ham. So while that one is kind of a cute story, how many things are you doing in your life because you should do them? It's not until we take a deeper look and we actually realize what we're doing that we can see whether it serves a greater good for us or not. Oftentimes these shoulds get in the way. One of the biggest issues in relationships is money. Our beliefs about money have been passed down to us. If you are very close to your grandparents, if you're in my generation, or great-grandparents if you're younger, they have a view on money based on what they experienced through the Depression and World War II and beyond. It was a very different time, yet their beliefs about money, their ways of handling money, their shoulds about money were passed down to their children and then their children and then to you. And unless you were fortunate enough to have somebody who broke that chain, through the generations, or you learned how to break the chain, you are still stuck with some shoulds about money that probably are not serving you. You won't know whether they're serving you or not until you actually take a look at them. So today's tool, should know more, is about taking a look at all the things we do because we should do them. Now here's some questions. When you identify these things, when you identify these behaviors and these belief systems that are in place because you should have them, I want you to ask yourself some questions. The first one is, where did I learn this? Okay, that's pretty simple in most cases. Most of the time we can identify that. When you identify that, you can easily see why it might have served who taught it to you, but does it serve you? Just because it worked for them does not mean it's going to work for you. You know, one of the greatest reasons for obesity these days is because many, many years ago, back in the Depression and beyond, food was not as plentiful as it is now. It certainly didn't have all of the preservatives and the sugars and the salts, and we could get into a whole nother topic, a whole nother journey on that. But we were taught then, when food was scarce, the people of that era were taught to clean their plate. Don't waste. You never really know when it's going to be full again. Well, food today is plentiful for most of us. And we have larger portions than they used to. Yet we still stick to the belief we should clean our plate. So take a really good look at that. Take a look at all of the shoulds that you have. Like I said, where did you learn it? And once you identify that, you can ask yourself, how is this serving me? How is this serving my relationship? How is this serving my partner? Once you answer those questions, take a look deeper at other behaviors. Am I doing this behavior because I should? Am I holding on to this belief because I should? As Pam Axe says, stop shoulding all over the place Take a look at these things. If they're serving you, keep them going. I'm not ever going to ask you to stop doing something that's serving your greater good or the greater good of your relationship. I will, however, ask you to release and let go of anything that doesn't serve you. So take a look. Where are you shoulding in your life? Have a great day, and we'll see you again tomorrow.